I'd like to welcome each one here this evening for our Monday, June 2nd, 2025 meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order and acknowledge the land which we gather as the traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Ottawa, and Mississauga peoples. Confirmation of the agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves the agenda for June 2nd, 2025 council meeting as presented. Mover, please. Deputy Reeve, seconder, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Consent agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts consent items 4.1.1 and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 4.1.2 to 4.3.5 for information purposes. Before we pull anything, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Palmer, would anybody like to move anything from there? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Thank you very much. Item 4.2.3, the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. I would like to congratulate the director, Krieger, of being awarded the 33,442 grant toward a rapid deploy inflatable shelter system. And I would like to know if the shelter would be used county-wide, or if every municipality has one of their own, and if there's specific training required, and are there other first aid responders like the OPP and the ambulance familiar with this shelter?
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
That's interesting because we had a county chiefs meeting last Wednesday, and I was discussing that I was bringing this report forward because we were rewarded this blow up shelter where other fire chiefs in the county have asked for the same funding. We were successful. Further to this meeting, I'll bring information back, and they would like to come to an agreement if the other counties or other municipalities could use it on a large scale basis, call out, and we'll deliver it. When it comes to the OPP and EMS, they're well aware that we received this funding as well, and they have their ear to the ground as well. And we'll team up, and all the agencies will work together. And if we need to deploy this tent, we will.
Thank you very much. I think it's very important to have our firefighters and first response people safe and sound. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to pull anything from the? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Reeve. Chad, I was wondering, what's the longevity of this unit?
Through you, Reeve. The research I've done, we should get 20 years out of it if we take care of it. The maintenance requirement is extensive, but if it's out in the cold and the rain and the wet, doing a snow event or something like that, we do need to bring it back, just like your own camping tent or trailer. We're gonna have to hang it, dry it, and maintain it. But the research I've done, we should be able to get 20 years out of it if we maintain it.
Thank you. Any other things you'd like to have pulled? Okay, I just want to bring forward number 4.2.2. I was wondering if our director, Coleman, could talk to that for us just for a moment about the minor variance, just how it could affect our meetings or. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Council, for having me this evening. And then through the Reeve, I'll just give a quick summary of the report, and then I'm happy to answer any further questions of Council. So Council will have seen that the report before them this evening is focused on Bill 17 by the province, and then also some related regulations, and it does focus on the changes specific to the Planning Act and related regulations. If I were to summarize the changes, there are 3 regulations proposed, one of which relates to major transit areas, so not relevant to North Huron. One of the other regulations, as the Reeve alluded to, deals with the zoning bylaw permissions for setbacks, and the regulation at this time, it is just a proposed regulation. We don't have the official wording, but it's proposing that all setbacks in zoning bylaws be permitted to be reduced by 10% across the board. So with that, we would anticipate if that were to go forward, that there likely would potentially be less minor variances because it would reduce those setbacks. So again, my reports suggest that once we have the regulation wording, a further report may come back. And then the other regulation that is relevant to North Huron has to do with complete application requirements. So complete application requirements generally refers to any studies or technical materials that would be required for a development or planning application. And the regulation would enable the minister to prescribe matters which could not be required. And at this time, the regulation proposal specifies specifically sun and shadow studies, wind studies, urban design studies, and lighting that potentially municipalities or counties could not require in the future. And then some other changes that are in the core of the bill and direct changes to the Planning Act would be to allow that public school facilities be permitted as a right on residential zoning and urban serviced areas. And then it also provides some modifications to the existing minister's zoning order provisions, just to allow that the minister could attach conditions to those zoning orders. So we have not had any zoning orders in North Huron or the county, but those certainly still exist throughout the province. So happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, are there any questions from council members? I know she answered mine there, so that was good. So clear, a great report, had everything there. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you. See. Yeah, item mover. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Six point 2.1, Finance 2025-13, amendment to the cemetery fees. Are there any questions for Director Fletcher at this time? Oh, very clear what she has to do in there. So the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives a report from the interim treasurer dated June 2nd, 2025 regarding amendment to the cemetery fees. And further, that council directs the Director of Legislative Services / clerk to prepare amendment to the fees charges bylaw for June 16th, 2025 regular meeting to amend the cemetery fees, to break out the cemetery fees and remove HST from the care and maintenance portion of the fees. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor McBurney. Any questions for her? All in favor? Carried. Finance 2025-14 municipal water and sewer rates, follow-up report and fee amendments. Again, are there any questions from this for Director Fletcher? I know she's put a lot of time in this and appreciate that. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. I'm curious. Okay, we have passed, I'm not sure what's happened at the other end of the cross-border. So we've passed where it's going to be a 1-to-1 as far as fees go. And it's still relating to the 1.5 times. So I'm reluctant to pass this as well. It is still stating the 1.5 times. So I was wondering when this has MT done their part at this point? I guess that's the first question.
Yeah, so through your worship, to answer Councillor Palmer's question, so the reciprocal agreement between North Huron and Morris Turnberry is a 1-to-1. So it applies for both parties. So North Huron's fees for Morris Turnberry users are the equivalent of North Huron's fees to North Huron users, and vice versa. Morris Turnberry's fees for North Huron's users are the same as what they would charge theirs.
But it's not showing it.
Yeah, because it's a standalone agreement. So the non-resident ones would be applicable to any Central Huron properties who are connected to our system, where we don't have an agreement with them. So in that bylaw, anywhere where it says non-resident water and sewer fees, those would be the ones where there's no existing agreement between the two parties of what the rates will be. So that would apply to Central Huron, where the Morris Turnberry North Huron, we have the agreement. It says they would get it at the resident rate. So those are the resident fees that would be charged.
Very good. So that's automatic then. Great.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yes, thanks through you, Reeve. So I just want to make sure I understand. So for the large apartment buildings, we had, I think, already adopted that if there was one sewer and one water hookup, that they would get charged one flat rate fee for the water and sewer. Is that correct?
Through you, Reeve. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and so now the other proposed is that basically any large 7+ unit would be metered and they would have to install a meter, correct?
3 of them do not have meters. Everybody else currently does. And moving to the metered portion, like to the metered philosophy of billing, does not change their capital contribution. It just changed the operating portion a bit to align with the commercial industrial. That was another reason for the name change to non-residential, because an impact there is multiple categories of properties. So more than just residential, commercial, industrial. So yeah, that would, it doesn't change the capital contribution at all.
But the intent is to have the non-metered apartment buildings to have meters installed, correct?
Correct. And that would be the intent of the second portion of the amendment to the fees and bylaws, to have a cost recovery fee added so that we could have meters installed in those non-residential areas that are currently missing meters or have broken ones, so that we can be consistent in that billing philosophy.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Director Fletcher at this time? Seeing none, the motion's in front of you, so I need a mover. Counselor Wright, seconder. Counselor Palmer. No more questions? All in favor? Carried. 6.3.1 CC 2025-07 Memorandum of Agreement with St. Lawrence College for Student Placement Experience. Are there any questions for Director Stice at this time? Seeing none, that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives a report of Director of Recreation and Child Services dated June 2nd, 2025 regarding a memorandum of agreement with St. Lawrence College for student placement experience, and further that the council agrees to adopt bylaw number 41-2025, being a bylaw to authorize the Reeve Clerk to sign on behalf of council a memorandum of agreement between the Corporation of Township of North Huron and St. Lawrence College of Applied Arts and Technology for the student placement experience at June 2nd, 2025 regular meeting. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. 6.3.2, again, CS 2025-07 North Huron Municipal Alcohol Policy Update. Are there any questions for Director Stice at this time? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I had a question about the addition of the Wingham Town Hall Theatre to this list. Where and how is alcohol being served there?
Through you, Reeve Heffer. To date, alcohol has not been served in the Wingham Theatre. As we were reviewing the municipal alcohol policy, we thought that it was a good time to bring forward this opportunity, if council wishes to include that as something to consider in the future. It's not uncommon for small theaters to serve alcohol before a show or during intermission.
All right, then like I'm about, is there room for things like that, for a little bar or anything like that? Or do we have to look in the future to have another area used by the theater, currently used by staff?
Through you, Reeve Heffer, I believe, and certainly I can look to CEO Santos for based on your background, but it looks like we could put something in there. It certainly won't be elaborate like a bar, but it would be small and kind of an intimate opportunity there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Director Stice at this time? Seeing none, I need a mover. Councillor Wright, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Now we're moving on 6.4 6.4.1, Public Works 2025-17, purchase of budgeted one. Oh, I'm ahead of myself. Yes. FA 2025-02, dehumidifiers for the arenas RFQ results. Are there any questions for Director Stice? I just appreciate seeing the price come down when you got the three. That was really good and it was good seeing that. So I don't see any questions for her. May I have a mover? Councillor Palmer, Deputy Reeve, all in favor? Carried. Now we'll move on to 6.4.1, Public Works 2025-17, purchase of budgeted 1-ton truck. Are there any questions for Director Wilson at this time? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Thanks, Reeve. I just want to make a point that it was a good job searching this one out. 'Cause I understand it was a difficult one, but you seem to get the right truck, and it's old but new. Thank you.
I guess I'd like to say too also that it's local too, and I think that's worth an awful lot too. So, okay, may I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Palmer, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Public Works 2025-18, Wingham resurfacing RFQ results. Are there any questions for Director Wilson at this time? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
It's almost not a, thank you, Reeve. It's not quite a question, but it's a, there was an issue, I guess, with the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And are you just going to, it sounds like from what I read, are you gonna make changes to the, like the mistake is on the website? Because there's a discrepancy there. And I know that it's often people will, they read the first page. It's not supposed to be the way it is, but that's what hits people. And maybe the person that was in charge of pushing the button and sending it on just read that first page and just came across, 3 p.m. So I'm just a little bit sensitive to that. And so I'm hoping that we have a change made. And are you just going to go with what our legal says and hope that the other company doesn't go get upset?
Go ahead, Director Wilson, please.
Through you, Reeve Heffer, and to your comment regarding the first page, this wasn't an online submission. It was a hard copy submission where you had to print off the RFQ. And when you refer to the first page, on the first page, right in bold, it said May 27th, 2 p.m. And and right below that, it says that the onus is on the bidders to make sure that the date and time is correct. So with it being a hard copy and you had to send it in or deliver it, hand deliver it. So whenever you print off the website, everything's in front of you that you're filling out. You're not filling it out online and submitting online. So what we go by is the legal document that was the hard copy prepared by Burnside.
2
So
p.m.
that said 2 p.m. on that. So that's what we refer to, and
Okay, good.
and that's what's been referred to in the past practices, that we go by what's on the RFQ, the hard copy RFQ.
Thank you. Deputy Reeve, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. The councilor was asking for whether changes were going to be made to the accepting of the bidding. I was just wondering if the councilor wishes changes to be made, that a motion come forward for changes to be made rather than superseding council's authority and asking for changes to be made without council's consideration.
We have this motion ahead of us here, so we'll just go with that and we'll vote on this. The Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives a report from the interim Director of Public Works dated June 2nd, 2025 regarding the Wingham resurfacing RFQ results. And further, that council awards the Wingham resurfacing project to Lavis Contracting Company in the amount of $303,889.83. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Henderson, Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 6.6.1. Are there any questions our CEO is willing to answer any there about the fireworks? We also have our fire chief here that's going to be very much involved with this, and just through the report, we see how they fundraise for this, and it's great seeing that, and it's a great afternoon when they have those fish fries there. So were there any questions for our CAO at this time? Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, it's not really a question. It's always the date that it's advertised very well, that it is on the 29th instead of the 1st of July. And that's the main thing. And I'm looking forward to it. It's always a great event and a good fundraiser for the firefighters.
Okay, may I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, Deputy Reeve, all in favor? Carried. Correspondence requiring action or direction. Our first one is 7.1. Brock Hodgins, Jonathan Neoman, Riverside Apartment requests for changes to the water and sewer billing. Could we, Clerk Lamb, could you give direction on that, please?
Yes, through your worship. So the correspondence is before council, but I guess it is important to note that you have provided direction to staff through staff report 6.2.2, amending the billing structure. So unless you were seeking further changes beyond that, but really you've changed the billing structure in regard to units over 7 and above, which will include charging them based on consumption, which those vacant or unoccupied units wouldn't be charged for consumption use charges at the time. So you may have satisfied some, if not all, of the requests, but I would defer that to council of whether you need to provide further direction. If you feel further direction isn't warranted at this time, then you could pass a motion to receive it for information purposes.
Okay, so I'll put that out to the floor then. Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'll make the motion that we just accept it for information purposes, and my discussions with some of the parties, I know that this arrangement will satisfy their concerns.
Thank you. Any other comment from any member, please? Seeing none? Just carry on. Councillor Van Henderson, all in favor? Carried. 7.2. Julie Dickert, Wingham Protestant Reformed Church, request to install church wayfinding signage on public property. I'll just turn it over to our clerk at this time, Director Lamb.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the correspondence request is before council from the Wingham Protestant Reformed Church, seeking authorization to put a wayfinding sign on township property in order to direct traffic towards the church. So typically these are dealt with through some sort of agreement between the party and the township, which outlines items such as who pays for maintenance, who owns the sign, who's responsible for the cost, that kind of thing. But ultimately, the bylaw that staff included in the agenda with this item is your sign bylaw, and there's a section in your sign bylaw that says that no sign shall be installed on township property without approval through the council of the Township of North Huron. So that's why the request is going forward. The request does note that they're looking at the northeast corner of Patrick and Josephine Streets. However, that's when staff were looking at it, a more suitable location is probably the southeast corner where it's grass as opposed to the northeast corner where it's all cement and sidewalk. And so others in the past, we've added the wayfinding signage on top of the street signs. So the southeast corner may be a more suitable location, but I put it to the floor for council. But if council is desirous of entertaining this request, then it may be prudent for to adopt a motion directing staff to prepare an agreement for the placement of that sign.
Any members have any comments that they'd like to add to that? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Do they have a design of what they would like to see, and does it conform to our bylaw?
Through your worship, to answer Councillor Palmer's question, their request is very high level at this time. So we do have similar signage on Victoria and Josephine Street intersection, and it's very simple. It just says church this way. So if they were interested in something like that, I think that's definitely feasible. But regardless, any sort of agreement will have to come back for council to approve. So we'd get a more of a sense at that time once the details are flushed out. But at this point, we just need direction from council whether this is something you want to entertain.
So may I have a motion put forward? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we ask staff to set up a potential agreement with them and go ahead with that and report back.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor McBurney?
And just to confirm, council's finding sufficient the southeast corner of Patrick and Josephine Street. Okay. Yeah, so I'll add that to the motion.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Reeves' report is sort of a quiet time. We had our emergency meeting the other day, but it went there. I saw our CEO was there and just checking off everything was done. But I guess it helps when our previous fire chief was the previous wrote up this agreement, so everything's in hand. It was very straightforward and all were pluses. So that was a real good sign. Thank you to Fire Chief Krager for that. And the only other thing, I went to the hospital meeting in the liaison between Listowel and Wingham Hospitals. We met down in Listowel, and Esther Miller was there. And I guess what she's planning on doing is going out, meeting the public and having meetings and get the people involved and what are your needs, and then will become what are our wants, right? Because it came up about our hospital was closed down when the neighboring town had a great big music in the fields. But fortunately, there's just one person, and he's able to go up to the Kincardine Hospital. But it's one of those things where you got to have your local hospital be aware of that. She wrote it down and is going to be very much aware. And something that's again, like everything else, they're getting cut back. We all know that. But one thing that is helping out both hospitals is Howick, the Mennonite community there. They have sort of like a place there where the people go to, and it's really easing out the burden on the Listowel and Wingham hospitals. And also they have the same thing up in Holyrood. And again, just a place where the people can go. They have nurses come in and work with them. But again, it's saving the people having to come and use the hospital here, right? And I guess a positive thing that came out of this is that positive feedback's coming back about with the cancer treatments that they can receive here. They don't have to always go down to London, distance away. It's really, the people are very grateful for that opportunity. So, but she said she has her work cut out for her, that just with the way things are. And so it'll be interesting. I'm sure when these meetings come up this fall, I'm sure that we want to make sure that we're being visible at them and just hear what the public's wanting out there. So that's with mine. Are there any council members, board committee reports, verbal or written updates from members who sit on boards and committees? Go ahead, Councillor Van Henderson, please.
Thank you, Reeve. Maitland MVCA had a meeting May 21st. Staff is reviewing the memorandum of understanding with the municipalities. These are due for renewal next year. And staff is working on an updated flood hazard identification mapping program for Wingham. This is necessary since the house and dam removal influenced the flood extents and depths in the area. The federal government is funding 50% of the cost, and the other 50% will be covered by Morse Turnberry and North Huron. A public meeting is expected over the summer. Playground Committee is hosting a townwide yard sale in Belgrave this Saturday. They will host a barbecue and a bottle drive as well. Some properties have signs in their yards, and all their proceeds are dedicated to the playground project. June 21st is their steak dinner, talent show, and silent auction. There will be a local band performing, some very fantastic items donated by local vendors, stores, and friends, and it will be a wonderful, wonderful evening and a great fundraiser for the playground.
Thank you. Deputy Reid, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. The last Blythe Business Association meeting, an inquiry came up, and unfortunately I couldn't answer the questions for them. It was through the Friends of the Village and reiterated by some of the businesses on Main Street about the project seeming to be stalled about the Blythe sign being moved across the street, and as to the finished product and what was going through. The Friends of the Village have had I guess there's several conversations with different staff members as they've filtered through our municipality, and never seeming to get the report back to them. They were curious as to what the final design work was going to be, or even to what portion of the budget is left for the sign. The Friends of the Village would have liked to have gotten at least some planting in while the planting season was still among us. So it was just some confusion, and they'd like some clarity on that. So I don't know whether that requires a motion to be made to get that report from staff to them or to council, because I didn't know the answers to those questions on myself to know where to look on the community website as to or where to inquire about the status.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Director Wilson at this time, please.
Thanks for you, Reeve. My comments on it is that I have last fall or summer, I guess I should say, when I was here, we did have a meeting and set it up with some representatives from Blythe, whether it's the BIA or the Friends of the Village. They did attend, and I told them at that time if they had any comments or maybe suggestions, recommendations, to possibly put all that together. And if they maybe had to, they could do a delegation to council and bring that forward prior to moving forward with any more designs on the sign. And that never took place, that they put anything together. And I have since then met this term here with a representative from the Friends of the Village. And she did explain that they probably dropped the ball by not getting here or putting anything in front of council. And she said at that time, hopefully it's going to be something that is similar to the sign that is at the north. And I told her that that is currently what we're going to be looking at. And previous to me coming on board, I believe there's been some discussions with BM Ross to help on a design on this. And since then, I have reached out to BM Ross and they are putting together a concept.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up with it, then I recall that the motion came before council during the budgeting of 2024, when we were talking about that the sign had to be moved by the January 1st sign. I'm just curious if that budget is still there, and is it going to be within the scope of the process? Or do we need another motion to revisit that budget item? Thank you.
Director Wilson, go ahead, please.
Again, through you, Reeve. Yes, there is, in the 2025 budget, there was money set aside for installing and building the new sign. And as I say, and BM Ross is coming up with a concept and going to be providing an estimate moving forward on this. And hopefully it's within what was allotted in the 2025 budget. But that will come back to, once that's received, it'll come forward to council. And also we will keep the Friends of the Village and whoever else in Blythe up to speed on what the current concepts and what's going on with the sign.
Any current timelines?
BM Ross hasn't provided any timelines yet, but obviously it's in the 2025 budget. So the direction that I gave them is that we'd like to get this done sooner than later.
Thank you. And just through you, Reeve, that, I mean, this process started back in 2023. We budgeted in 2024. This is now 2.5 or a year and a half later, and the project is still stalled. So I just would like to that project at least see some light of day. Thank you.
I think we got some concrete answers there from Director Wilson there, so that's good. Are there any other comments by members? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hersen, please.
Thank you very much. No, this is just a really short update about the progress for the elevator in the Belgrave Community Center. They are starting building in pretty soon, and it will take about 2 to 3 months, and then the floor will be better accessible for everybody who is has a little bit trouble walking.
Okay, thank you. Good news. Okay, any notice of motions? Seeing none. Bylaws, number 39-2025 Recreation Program Service Agreement with Huron County. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 40-2025 Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation of Canada Funding Agreement. May I have a mover? Councillor Wright, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 41-2025 Memorandum of Agreement with St. Lawrence College for Student Placement Experience. May I have a mover? Councillor Whitfield, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Next regular council meeting will be held Monday, June 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in North Huron Council Chambers, and the next Wingham BIA board meeting will be held on Thursday, June 19th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the Hot Stove Lounge at the North Huron West Cass Community Complex. And the next Blythe BIA board meeting will be held on Thursday, June 26th at 8 a.m. in the Blythe District Community Center. Are there any other announcements? Seeing none. Confirmatory bylaw number 42-2025. May I have a mover? Councillor Palmer, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Adjournment that the Council of Township of North Huron agrees that there being no further business before council on June 2nd, 2025 regular council meeting be adjourned at 6:39. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Good.